Thank you for tuning into the Powell Bros movie reviews. This is our second and final week off from our main show. This week we'll be giving you a sneak peek look at the Powell Bros mini reviews, which is a patron only show that you can gain access to at patreon.com/the Powell Bros. There you'll gain access to the Powell Bros mini reviews every week, as well as early access to Movie Chronicles and movie reviews by the Powell Bros. So we hope you enjoy the show, and we thank you again for listening. So without further ado, on with the show.
Welcome to our after hours show for Captain Marvel. Yep, we just reviewed.
This will be after hours and a mini review. So it'll be we'll go over our Stan Lee cameo and the end credit scenes for Captain Marvel, and then go right into our mini review for Echo.
Yes,
the series.
This is our Girl Boss after hours after Girl Boss episode. Where this is Girl Boss week.
Yeah. All right. So the Stan Lee cameo. This was a pretty. It was a fun one, actually.
Yeah,
he was reading
the
Mallrats script.
Okay.
I was trying to think if he had a connection to that movie.
Uh-huh.
I know he has because Mallrats is Kevin Smith.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
It's a Kevin Smith movie. Of course, Kevin Smith is a very big comic book guy, so I'm sure he probably knows Stan Lee.
Totally. And so he must have
knew Stan Lee.
In the story, he was auditioning for the movie, kind of.
I think he was auditioning. Yeah, I think he was auditioning for a part. Oh, I wonder if Stan Lee has a cameo in Mallrats, and then he was like reading his. That'd be interesting.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen Mallrats.
Yeah, he cameos in it.
That's probably. I wonder if that's what he was reading was his cameo in that, which would be funny.
Oh yeah,
but yeah. It
must be.
It was a fun one. He was just in the bus reading Mallrats script. He says a line, but I didn't rewind it to make it out. But,
yeah.
And then she kind of smiles at him because this was his. Was this his last cameo?
I feel like it might have been, because this came out, I think, about the same year as Dark Phoenix, or a little bit before Dark Phoenix, and that was around when he passed away. So yeah, this
did
must
he have
have
a
been...
cameo in Endgame?
No.
If he had a cameo in Endgame, they would have filmed it before Captain Marvel anyway.
They would have,
because they filmed Endgame right after Infinity War.
Right.
So he might have. I can't remember, but I think it might have been his last that he filmed. And they had like the whole like intro like where it says Marvel, like it was all his cameos. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh really?
So it was like, you know how it's like usually like Hulk, Thor, and all these characters.
Oh yeah. I skipped that
when they.
I skipped the beginning of the movie.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I was kind of rushed. I was rushed to get it done.
So, it was all of Stan Lee's cameos in that. So it's kind of a cool tribute to him.
Yep. So he was in Endgame. He was a hippie. One of the scenes back in time. So that was his last cameo.
Yeah, but they would have filmed that before they filmed this.
Right.
But yeah. All right. So then we got our end credit scene.
There's two. There's a mid. Well, there's a mid and an end.
It was. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. So there's the mid-credit scene, which was just a large jump to the future. Mm-hmm. It was like almost like an extra scene for Endgame.
Yeah.
Of course, we're all the way back in the 90s right now, and we're working through an actual timeline. So we're in the 90s right now. That would have been like 2025 or something like that.
Yeah.
I think or 2023. So yeah, there's just a large jump to the future, and they call Nick Fury at the end of Infinity War called for Captain Marvel, and then she comes to help, looking for Nick Fury.
Did they ever say like how they got the receiver or the
They must
thing.
have just found it on the floor where Nick Fury dropped it.
I guess. Sure.
They just knew where Nick Fury was, where he dropped it.
I guess.
In the middle of New York City.
Right. Something like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, there wasn't much to it. It was just a tease for Endgame.
Yeah, I totally forgot that was in there. Because it was like it was an extra scene kind of for Endgame.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, in Endgame, she's in communication with them.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
Right, and she has her lesbian haircut, and then she's off doing things for them, looking for survivors or something.
Yeah. And then we get our end credit scene, which is the cat coughing up the Tesseract.
Yay.
It's literally all it was.
Right.
a cat puking up the Tesseract.
Pretty much. A flarkin.
Which just...
Flarkin.
Yeah. He, so I guess and then they just hold on to the Tesseract until eventually
Avengers.
Loki comes and gets it. And
Avengers. Yeah. Right, so Avengers. Pretty much.
Yeah. That was all that.
Not a whole lot to it.
I don't know if there's not really anything else to say.
Right.
We can get into our mini review of Echo, which might be kind of long because it's 5 episodes. It's a short show.
Well, it's 5
episodes.
It's technically like 4.5.
Short.
Yeah, with like 8 minutes of credits every episode.
Yeah, very short.
Yeah.
But this will probably be a pretty short review.
I think so.
I gotta get to bed, so.
Yeah, no problem. What were your overall thoughts at the end of it?
Oh, man.
Did you make it through?
Let me try to... I did make it through. The only reason I watched in the first place is because of Daredevil and Kingpin.
Yep.
Which
Vincent
they
D'Onofrio.
advertised heavily. They advertised heavily in the show.
Yeah, they marketed it as, like, oh, Kingpin and Daredevil is in this. You gotta watch it. I can see it.
Yeah. Which he wasn't. Like,
nope.
Daredevil was in one scene, which was a flashback. Okay, so it wasn't a flashback scene. The first episode was it was catching us up with all of Echo's story.
Yeah.
From when she was a child to
Hawkeye.
To Hawkeye.
Yeah.
To after Hawkeye. All the way up to whatever the modern time is in the MCU is.
Yeah.
So one of those scenes was a scene with Daredevil. He's in his suit fighting Echo. His
good suit.
Which was just it's a good suit. Terrible fight.
Awful.
Dumb that Echo
terribly
was even able
choreographed.
to stand up
this
against
man
him.
who's stood up to Kingpin, to Bullseye, to I was gonna say
the ninjas, that like
100 ninjas
that can, like 100 ninjas. I'm watching Daredevil right now. I literally just watched an episode tonight, and it was the last episode of season 2. He literally went up against
the Hand.
No, what's the head ninja? Nobu and his 100 ninjas that are all very skilled and can control their heartbeats and all this stuff. He went up against all of them and won, and he can't hold himself up against Echo.
Hey, Echo is an indigenous, disabled woman. Okay, she's a girl boss. She has all the ancestors. The power of all her ancestors. Well, no, she didn't at the point. That's the other thing. It's like,
no,
this is a 150-pound woman who is disabled, who has had some training under Kingpin, but who was able to stand her ground against Daredevil somehow. And that fight was so bad. The choreography was awful. Like that one scene where she like spins around, she's gonna kick him, but she pauses and then kicks when he's in the right position.
Yeah.
It's like, why? Who in the world like filmed that and like, oh yeah, this is good. Let's keep going. Like, or even editing, like find a way to edit that. Like, don't keep that in. That's so bad. And
You could have easily edited that, and I don't know.
Makes
It
no
doesn't
sense.
make any sense.
Well, so interesting thing about this show, the first cut of the show, which was like 8 episodes, was given to Kevin Feige, and he watched it and said, "This is unreleasable. Go back and change it." So they did a bunch of reshoots. They cut it down to 5 episodes, and and still the product that was released was still unwatchable, and they shouldn't have released it because there was rumors that they weren't going to release it at all. They were just going to move on, but they kind of put themselves in a corner because they promoted it as this, the first indigenous superhero who's deaf and disabled and everything. It's like,
okay, yeah. Let's go over like who she is. She's an oppressed, sexually harassed, lost her family, lost her leg, deaf.
Yep.
So it means that everything should be handed to her on a silver platter from now on.
which is pretty much happened. And she's a murderer who's killed a bunch of people under the rule of Kingpin, and has no ramifications for her actions. She doesn't need to repent. She doesn't. We're not supposed to feel bad for her, no, we're supposed to feel bad for her, but we're not given a reason to feel bad for her. And they just completely brush over the fact that she's done all these horrible things for Kingpin. And she wants to continue to do those things because she wants to be Queen Pin. I hated that so much. There's twice that she referred to herself as a queen. Like one, she was at the first episode. She's like, "It's time for a queen," and then later on in another episode, she's like, I'm going to be the Queen Pin or something like that. It's like, it's so dumb. There's so much we could just tear apart here. She has no personality. She's not this. So I don't know if you know about this. She's not an actor. She was.
Yeah, I'd heard that.
She was a Amazon warehouse employee that checked all the boxes for Marvel Studios, and like, yep, we want her. I don't know how she was recognized. They brought her in.
She probably applied or
probably.
auditioned.
You're probably right.
It was probably a very open casting call.
Right, but not very many people
for disabled indigenous people.
Yeah, not very many people fit into that. And so in the comics, Echo is deaf. She isn't Indian, and she's an Indian. But she's not disabled. She's not an amputee in the comics. So they Marvel added that for her in this. And the tribe that she's a part of is fictional in the comics, and I think there's the tribe that she's a part of in this one's actually a real tribe. Something like that.
Yeah. So one of these lines that I think it was the grandma or her mom or whatever. Was it her grandma? Was that old lady her grandma or her mom?
Old lady was her grandma. Her mom died in the car crash. She lost her leg.
Her grandma. She says this line. I think it was her. What's the point in giving life if you can't protect it?
Oh, so at one of the flashbacks at the beginning of one of the episodes, it was the black and white one, the silent film. That I don't know if that's what you're talking about, because that was one of the things that was said on the during the silent film was.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. So yeah, what's the point of giving life, or whatever you said? What's the point of protecting life if you can't
giving life? No, giving life you can't protect it.
Yeah,
it's like being a mom and giving birth,
right?
Being able to do that and not protect it,
which is ridiculous. And it just goes.
But they mean it in a way of like, we must be warriors,
right? We must be,
which was a theme for all the women. Like, so they in each episode they like go back in time, like they start the episode with some indigenous woman that was a leader of a tribe, or a group of indigenous people, and.
Or just
the women.
Boss.
The women are the women are like these girl bosses that are leading these tribes.
Can do no wrong.
That's not a thing. Like if you look at history, that's just not a thing. First of all, if you look at indigenous history, it's always the men that were the leaders. So that's historically inaccurate to put women as the leaders, but they're not only leaders, they're the warriors that are like leading them in battles and stuff. And that's what they mean by protect their life that they can give. Not like, we're getting attacked, like we must fight to survive. It's no, we're going to battle.
Yeah. Right. And like you have that in that black and white silent film, that ancestor, you have like the light horsemen or something, tribe, and the men are the ones that go out and fight, and they're fighting against the white man, and protecting their tribe. And it says specifically that women are not allowed to be those warriors, are not allowed to fight. But when the men are being pinned down and getting defeated, she comes in and is just flawless and able to kill all the white men and save the men from their oppressors. And it's like, are you kidding me? So she's able to just come in and she uses her ancestors' power in order to do that. And then she gives the typical female Marvel superhero smirk. I think she looks at the camera and like smirks or something. It's just like, yeah, okay. They do that a lot.
Yeah.
Anyways, just so we could, maybe we should do part 2 or something. But like CGI, terrible. The acting,
so
was terrible
with the CGI. Like there were even the hand-to-hand combat scenes were CGI. Like you could tell they were CGI.
Because
like I'm watching Daredevil right now. None of it's CGI. You have these actual fighters that are fighting. Not CGI. They tried to do some one-take shots with some of the fights
that were so bad.
You can tell they were not one-take shots. Like you can do camera tricks where you make it so it's not one take. Like they were so obvious that they weren't actually one-take shots.
Right.
And they were just so bad. So bad.
Well, and the main actress, she's from what I heard, like she's terrible at fighting, so that she had to have her stunt double do all the fighting and stuff, and even then it just wasn't good. And do you want to talk about story real quick? Like it was just, I feel like it was just a complete mess. There was just no clear motivations for her.
I know.
It was just all over the place. It was so boring. And
they kill her mother in the beginning too, and it's like, am I supposed to care about her mother's death? Like it was like first thing, like her mother dies, and she's so sad about it, and that's like what leads her on this story. I mean, and sad.
Like the even the little girl actor, she didn't show any emotion. And then Maya as an adult, she has no emotion or no expression, like facial expressions. Throughout like the whole movie almost. There's a couple there's a couple times, but for the most part not really.
So the story, you get this, you have each episode starts with an indigenous woman that's like the leader of their group. And then they have these moments where they get this little boost of power and they can outperform or just do something that makes them better.
It's when they're in trauma,
win whatever circumstance there is.
When they need it.
Well, and one of those times when she needed it was a sports game, I guess.
In order to pretty much beat a 200-pound steroid man on
250
steroids.
Guy.
250.
This huge guy comes out and he's like known as like the best at this game. And then somehow this tiny little
and when
girl,
that happened,
like,
it's like,
outperforms him.
This little girl is gonna beat him. Like it's like once
she
he
got
came out, it's like, oh yeah, this is what they're doing, obviously.
And she gets like this little boost of power, and the whole power thing just makes like no sense. It comes from this little well or whatever, and it just gets passed down through ancestors and
something like that
through generations
of women.
And then of course at the end, Echo gets all the powers from all the different women, because each one displayed like a different version of the powers.
I think they've done this before. Wait a minute. I am all the Jedi. or
Yeah.
or Gaia from Secret Invasion. She has all the superpowers. Or what was the other one?
Captain Carter
Captain
from What
Carter. Yeah.
If
For
season
What If?
2.
Yep. It's just like all these superpowers. Like this
Yeah.
is ridiculous. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, you just have it's this made up world. I'm gonna say a very Gen Z thing. It's giving Barbie. It's very
I don't
much
even know
like
what that
a
means.
Barbie world.
Giving.
It, it feels like Barbie. It feels like a
Okay.
Barbie world.
Yeah.
Like all the women, the wives, the tribal leaders are all women.
Yep.
It's some weird messed up world
the
where
men
the
are
women are ruling,
pathetic.
and it's literally that's what Barbie world is. Like in the Barbie movie,
Yep.
all the women are. It's a feminist world. It's a feminist ruled world, and that's what this show is. It shows a feminist ruled world.
Wasn't
Yeah.
a 10? Sorry.
And then you have you just have like all these women that are ruling the world. Even her like kind of ruling over Kingpin and like trying to defeat him. I go back to like the Daredevil fight. Like Kingpin literally says in the movie, he says, "I'm surprised that you're able to hold your own against Daredevil better than my own men ever could." And it's like not even all his own men. He never could.
Right.
Yeah. He better than he ever could.
Yep.
It's just such a disgrace to both Kingpin and Daredevil.
They butchered Kingpin so bad in this movie, in this show. I was so mad. Like, and this is the second time they did it. They did it in Hawkeye. They did a little better job with him in Hawkeye, but still at the end when he gets betrayed by Maya and gets shot, which also doesn't make sense. He got shot in the face from point blank, and he's fine in this movie. It's just in the show. I keep saying movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, do you want to finish off talking about Kingpin? Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I just want to put one little plug in for the new Daredevil show. Since we're talking about this is all related to Daredevil. Well, one thing about Echo, I guess for comic book accuracy, I don't think she had any abilities she had no special abilities in the comics.
She did. No, she I heard that she had the ability to mimic other people's abilities, like fighting styles and like if you're like different like karate and jiu-jitsu. Like she would like mimic other people without actually like being trained in those arts.
Okay, so this is what I wrote. And so she apparently she probably does that stuff, but the closest thing to what she had in this show was when she became the Phoenix. She had the power of the Phoenix.
I don't even remember that, but okay.
In a comic series, I don't know.
In the comic. You're saying okay, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the other thing that they did differently is they gave her their own power. Like they made up the powers for this movie, which were undefined and made no sense.
Very much made up. Yeah.
Right.
So Daredevil Born Again is the Daredevil show that's coming out. Is it coming out this year?
I don't know. They had to go back and reshoot it and rewrite it.
So I don't know when it comes out, but
maybe
we know they went back and reshot a bunch of stuff. They redid the whole show.
Yeah,
the entire thing, which is probably a good thing.
Maybe.
I've heard that they might actually be doing the right thing and straying away from, because of how bad Echo was, and they know how bad it was, that they're going to be straying away from that, and they're going to be staying more true to the Netflix Daredevil shows, and like bringing back Foggy and Karen and Punisher's coming back. There's new news that Bullseye's coming back, the same actors for all of them.
The thing is,
so there's hope that
go ahead,
that these characters will have redemption in that show, hopefully, including Kingpin. I'm sure Kingpin's gonna be. I'm not sure, but I'm fairly certain they're gonna use him in the Spider-Man movie, the next Spider-Man movie, because Spider-Man's supposed to be like the leader of the street level heroes, and that's where all these tie in, because Echo's technically on the street level and all that stuff.
Right.
And yeah.
Oh yeah, and Matt Murdock was in No Way Home. I forgot about that. So
yeah, he has a No Way Home.
Yeah.
She-Hulk, unfortunately.
So like, I'm not gonna get my hopes up about a Daredevil Born Again. I think in their eyes they're gonna be like, okay, yeah, we need to go a different route, but I don't think they have the talent as behind writing, the stuntman, the producers and directors. I don't think they have the talent or the ability to do what they did with the Netflix show. Even if they think, oh yeah, we're gonna go back to our roots and go back to what people like and people enjoy, they may think they're gonna do that, but it's just, I think it'll just still fall flat. So
right.
I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong, and we'll see. But like what they did with Kingpin in this was just pathetic. He gets beat in the most pathetic way. It didn't even really make sense. Like, she made him forget about the trauma that he experienced when he was a kid. When he killed his father. And then he starts crying and runs away like a baby, and and gets in the car and leaves, and lets himself be beaten by Maya. And that's it.
Yeah.
That was it. Like, he didn't keep fighting. He just left. He ran away like a dog with his tail between his legs, and that was it. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
It's so pathetic.
Yeah. It was a bad show.
Well, and like even his motivations didn't make any sense. So why first off, why was he so obsessed with Echo and like reconciling with her? But like he knows that she shot him in the face, and it's like,
yeah,
I think the Kingpin from Daredevil would have been very furious and would have killed her and dealt with her. I mean, they tried to establish this father-daughter, uncle-niece relationship. It's like, okay, but even then, like, the only thing I can really gather from this is that his motivation for going back to see her was so that she would kill him. It was like a suicide mission, because you had the whole thing with the hammer, and he said, go ahead and kill me, go ahead and use it on me. It's like, I mean, he maybe knew that she wouldn't, but why not? Why wouldn't you know? Like, she shot you. So it's like,
yeah.
And then, I don't know, even his motivations, for wanting to attack the powwow, and that was weird.
Yeah.
And there were so many characters that they introduced that they didn't do anything with, really. Like,
yeah,
you had Biscuits who popped the cousin dude, who's just a babbling idiot. He just pops up a couple times and then runs over those guys with a monster truck, and that's it. I don't know. It was weird.
It was a horrible show.
Terrible.
And I'm glad Daredevil wasn't in it a whole lot, so they didn't really have an opportunity to completely ruin him.
Right.
Although the scene he was in, he got
pretty
much
beat
by her.
Yeah, he wouldn't have just run away like that. Like, he would have stayed. Like, this person just killed someone. Like, he's gonna go ahead and make sure it's dealt with, and not just run away. It was stupid.
Yeah. So there's even in that that kind of, they didn't handle Daredevil well, even in just that scene, and hopefully they redeem themselves. But as always, we don't have super high hopes for Marvel handling.
No,
I mean, for Disney handling these characters, but
right.
Time will tell, I guess, and we'll see. But but thank you for listening to this mini review and your support for our show. And if you want to keep listening to more of these,
we did one on Godzilla -1 as well. It was really fun.
Yeah.
Actually, fun fact: I'm gonna go see Godzilla -1 minus color tomorrow. So the black and white version of Godzilla. Rebecca and I are gonna go see it because she went to go see it. So that'll be fun.
Yeah. That's cool.
So yeah.
Alrighty.
That's
Well,
it.
thanks for listening, and we look forward to giving you more content like this.
Yep. Thank you all.
All right. Thank you.
Peace
Bye.
out.